finally, it's finally here. 1997's Final Fantasy VII is oft regarded as one of the greatest games in history, and it's many Final Fantasy fans' favorite game in the series. Because they never played 6. Oh, what? Like you know. So it's no surprise that fans were clamoring for a remake. In the early 2000s, Square announced a remake of FF7 on the PS2, but it was cancelled due to how much content would have to be cut with the graphical upgrade. Demand for a remake grew following a PlayStation 3 tech demo at the 2005 Electronic Entertainment Expo showcasing the opening of 7 with Square's new Crystal Tools engine. But enough history ripped directly from a Wikipedia page anybody can search for and read! In 2020, a Final Fantasy VII Remake was finally released to the masses, with many of the original major staff behind it. So, time for some original content about a game somebody else made using assets and music other people made. Final Fantasy VII Remake. The game begins, like the original game, with Cloud and Barret infiltrating a Mako reactor in the city of Midgar, along with the assistance of fellow Avalanche Resistance members Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge. Midgar being a super city powered by the Mako these Shinra reactors collect from the planet, and which basically acts like electricity. Except it's bad. The game is ripe with symbolism about environmentalism and classism, with Midgar itself being a giant pizza-shaped city where the rich people live on the upper level, and poor live in the slums of the lower level. All of this symbolism is stuff I covered extensively in my super show of the original Final Fantasy VII, and I don't feel like going over it again, so just watch it. The first thing fans of the original game will notice, outside of how gorgeous the graphics look, is the revamped battle system in FF7 Remake. This new battle system is an interesting merger of action RPGs, where players can combo and wail on enemies, and the traditional FF7 battle system. There's a gauge you have to fill up with each character in order to use an action other than attacking or defending, which fills faster for the character you're controlling. And this is where I ended up really falling in love with FF7 Remake's battle system. When I first started playing, I was genuinely bad at this. You don't have to switch which character you control, and it felt a little overwhelming switching between characters, so I'd usually just stick to one, at first. By the end of the game, though, I was ping-ponging back and forth between everyone, and each time I had one character performing a special attack, I'd switch over to a different character to fill their gauge up and use a new special attack. Meanwhile, each character specializes in something different, and enemies all have different kinds of weaknesses, so there's a surprising amount of strategy at play. It ends up feeling fantastic, and a great merger between action and strategy. Your first mission is easy peasy. Jesse has built a bomb to disrupt a Shinra reactor, so you just gotta bring it in, set it, and take Shinra down a peg. You know, fight for the planet and all that jazz. Jesse! So, as it turns out, Shinra has hidden cameras everywhere, and has put you on a new reality show titled Screwing with Avalanche. On this show, Shinra purposefully takes your baby explosion that's a minor inconvenience to them and makes it look like a horrible terroristic attack that truly affects the lives of the everyday person. I'm telling you all, Reactor 1 was an inside job. If you look at this footage here, and here, when you zoom in, you can clearly see that there's a Moogle in one frame, but not the other. The Moogle Emporium!
Hey, what are you doing in my room? How'd you get in my house?
Cloud gets separated from the group on the way back to their hideout in the Sector 7 slums, and starts having flashes to both his past and to his certain Shapiroith. And if you don't know who Shapiroith is, well... Dun-dun-dun-dun.
When I was a kid, the first time I played this, my friends and I thought that we didn't know how to pronounce his name. For some reason, we just didn't read it right, and we thought it was Shapiroith.
What?
So we would always be like, Shapiroith is coming! Oh shit!
You thought it was Shapiroith?
For like a month or two.
And of course, in the middle of absolutely tripping out, you run into Aerith, who doesn't seem to give a crap. At all.
Look, I'm involved in things. Dangerous things.
Oh, I'm sure you are. So?
So what I'm getting out of this is the best way to get a girl is to trip balls in front of her and basically tell her you're a criminal. Let's try it!
Dave, what are you doing here?
Hey girl, I do things, bad things.
What are you talking about?
I'm in a gang. I kill people all the time.
That is so hot. Do you want to come inside?
Oh, she's crazy too. It makes sense now. So let's get away from that mess and instead hop on a train to meet up with the rest of the group. Like Barrett, whose dumbasses decide to blow our cover and start berating Shinra employees literally right after the explosion and we're trying to lay low.
We will not submit to intimidation or violence, but work together for peace and prosperity. That is how civilized people change the world.
That's right. That is the Shinra Creed.
Oh, they're dumb as rocks. I guess it's all good then. We also get one of my favorite tracks playing from the soundtrack, Shinra's Creed, so now is as good a time as any to talk about the music. And by that, I mean to say this just happened to be a good segue, and I purposefully wrote it in so I could talk about the music. Good. What? I don't need to write an essay about it. Returning to the Sector 7 slums and Avalanche's headquarters at 7th Heaven, you finally reunite with Cloud's childhood best friend and best girl, Tifa. Oh, Tifa, you are the best girl. You're the only one for me. If there were a best girl competition, you'd be the only one I'd choose.
I wrote that song for, Aerith Gainsborough.
Another new addition to the FF7 remake is introduced with Tifa, that being a few side missions in some of the slums you'll interact with, such as the Sector 7 slums. While most of the side quests are fairly benign and, of course, totally optional, I actually found myself really looking forward to them. In the original game, the towns were, to me, more memorable for their music and general aesthetic than anything else. These side quests made me actually care about the people who lived in the towns and get a much better feel for them, as well as a sense of belonging. You know, like helping a child find a bunch of lost cats!
This sucks.
You aren't wanted on the next terroristic mission, but Jessie feels bad about how her first bomb, to her mind, caused this. So she asks you for help finding new materials to make a less impactful bomb. This leads to Jessie's home and a nice glimpse of the upper class of Midgar. While the original game only really showcases the slums, here we get to see how the rich people live and a better idea of the class system going on. But first, you need to get there. Now, I talked extensively in the original FF7 Super...
I loved the motorcycle segment. It adds a nice action accent, and was a nice pacing break from the JRPG grinding.
The FF7 remake has an additional motorcycle segment and even some new mechanics. It's a short mission, but I definitely appreciated it. It also has the most anime thing of all time. Having children? Is that you? But all in all, it's a fairly quick segment and soon you'll make it to Jessie's home. Your new mission is to sneak into Jessie's home, steal her father's ID so Jessie can break into a Shinra plant for the bomb materials, all while Biggs, Wedge, and Jessie distract Jessie's mom by eating her home-cooked pizza, which leads to another important aspect of the remake. In the remake, side missions like this lead you to learning much more about the minor side characters and their plights, and therefore caring far more about them. Jessie was about to have her big break as an actress, starring in a role as the princess at the Gold Saucer, before her life was completely disrupted by her father contracting Mako poisoning, and she returned home to care for her family. Biggs was a teacher at the Sector 5 slums Leaf House before leaving it behind to fight for the cause. Wedge comes across as the thoughtful, happy, and kind one, but who's actually deep down self-conscious about his weight and his ability to truly help Avalanche. And Cloud doesn't get to eat any pizza, which makes him moody and frequently lash out. If only someone had thought to share some pizza with him, Jesse! Also, anyone else find it weird that Jesse's mom decided to serve everyone pizza on the top plate at Midgar, when we all know that Midgar's nickname is the Great Pizza in the Sky? Jesse's mom is the true head of the upper echelon, keeping the lower class down with pizza. But pizza doesn't make itself. Someone has to put together the cheese, tomato sauce, and bread. And where do those ingredients come from? That's right! Tomato sauce primarily came from Mexico before Spaniards brought it to Europe. And what's in Mexico? You know it! Tolon, the port city, and one of the last cities built by the Mayans. And if you know the Mayans, which you do, you know that they were ruled by a king who had a semi-divine status and was thereby the mediator between the realm of the gods and that of mortal men, just like Shapiroth. What I'm trying to say, and I don't think you need me to put the pieces together for you, as it's right in front of you, is that Jesse's mom is Shapiroth. Unbelievable. Get out! So you steal Shapiroth's husband's ID and soon have the new bomb materials. And as fate would have it, quite literally actually, Jesse is badly injured the next day by Whispers, who are the arbiters of fate, and therefore Cloud takes Jesse's place to go on the new bombing mission. Also, we need to talk about the Whispers for a moment. As much as I genuinely love the FF7 remake, these Whispers of Fate were added to the game, and for my money, are one of the dumbest additions. You see, the writing of the new game is slightly different, with the characters' dialogue more realistic and better written. But now when the writing naturally leads the characters to do something different from the original game, these Whispers of Fate show up and completely shoehorn plot from the original game, even injuring, saving, or killing characters in crucial moments. And I'm not saying it's personal because of what happened earlier.
What do you say we, take this inside?
I say, yes, What?
Are you coming?
Yeah, of course I'm trying to! What the? Why?
What is happening?
I don't know! Of all times! Come on! It's just not good writing, whatever the justification is. So anyways, the original game sees Cloud, Tifa, and Barret traveling together to blow up another Maka reactor. So, of course, you do the same thing in this game thanks to the Whispers. Your initial cover of traveling by train is blown though, so you're forced to go the long way on foot.
You want to keep going this way, you best explain yourself.
This is a JRPG! I'm looking for random items, you moron! In typical JRPG fashion, and really most video games, I have a saying that going the wrong way is the right way, because you never know what secret items you'll find, so it's always better to go the wrong way first. The thing about FF7 Remake though, is...
Not that way. Down the ladder, dummy. Hey, Cloud, where are you going? Wrong way, Cloud.
The hell you off to? Don't tell me. You lost. You've had your fun. Now let's go back.
The game's pretty linear. While every so often I would find a goodie, more often than not I'd end up derailing my playtime by a good 5 minutes, going the completely wrong direction and not finding anything. I don't really know what the moral of this story is, it's just a thing that happened in this game. Eventually, despite all my constant derailing, I did finally make it to Maka Reactor 5. Attempting to blow this one up, Cloud, Tifa, and Barret learned that President Shinra and Heidegger, the head of public safety for Shinra, know about everything you're doing and are the ones who have been making your explosions far more extreme, so they make Avalanche look even more like terrorists and blame you for everything. One big boss battle later, and Cloud sees himself falling from the reactor down into the slums, and just happening to crash through a church where Aerith gathers flowers. Now, as a recap, this injured Jessie's leg so much she couldn't support her weight anymore. Meanwhile, Cloud falling from basically the top of a plate and crashing through the roof of a church resulted in him not only being fine, but also battling a top-level Turk in the matter of minutes. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, and the Turks are basically the CIA of Shinra and highly specialized in espionage and fighting. They're trying to kidnap Aerith for some reason, so you help her escape. Because they work for Shinra, and Shinra is bad, and Aerith's a cute girl, and cute girls are good. Aerith attempts to lead you back to Sector 7 when you run into Best Girl Tifa. Tifa is being escorted to Wall Market in Don Corneo, a mafiosa-esque dude who's a leader in the underworld. And in attempting to save her, you reach the most integral part of the game in Wall Market. Wall Market, land of the Honeybee Inn, squat-offs, and fighting an actual house. You'll find plenty of attractions, like getting gang banged.
What? They cut that?
Like not getting gang banged. You'll even cross-dress for Don Corneo for a chance to be his wife, who somehow chooses Cloud over Tifa? Like, look, you can be into whatever you want, Don, even though the right choice is Best Girl Tifa, and every other choice is clearly the wrong answer. But I'm just saying that Cloud's outfit and voice...
You're even cuter than I thought.
Back off. Pathetic. What was that?
doesn't really hide that he's a guy, like, at all. At least not for this much of a shocked reaction. Anyways, Corneo manages to trick everyone and drop them into the sewers, but only after revealing a crucial piece of information. Shinra is planning on dropping the plate over the Sector 7 slums, murdering every innocent civilian on the plate and under the plate, and blaming Avalanche for it. So, that's bad. Better get back to try and stop it and save everyone. Let's get at it.
Hey, you don't believe that crazy story of his, do you? Shinra wouldn't sacrifice a whole sector just to take out Avalanche, would they?
Maybe? So, let's make a move.
It's gotta be a trick. There's no way they'd go that far. But what if Corneo really was telling the truth?
Damn it, Tifa.
Hurry, 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 come on. If it's true, we gotta go. Come on.
Hey, Cloud. Destroying a whole chunk of the city
Hey,
just to get back to
you don't
us.
believe that
Still
crazy
thinking
story
she's
of
the
taking
lady.
Avalanche.
Tifa's still best girl. Tifa's still best girl. Tifa's still best.
After a slog through the sewers and excellent graveyard of the remake, you do finally reach Sector 7 while Avalanche and other resistance fighters are risking their lives to prevent Shinra and the Turks from dropping the plate. And, sadly, we see a few of our now beloved comrades perish. The first to go is Biggs.
Our future is in your hands.
Shortly followed by Jessie, who kinda had it coming because she never gave you a pizza.
You owe me a pizza.
I had it coming.
Tell it like it is, Cloud.
Wedge survives as he has to save a bunch of cats, but Aerith is captured by the Turks, the plate falls, and Shinra murders. Well, if there's 8 sectors plus Sector 0, which is in the middle, that makes 9 total sectors, so choose a number between 1 and 9, multiply that by 2, add 5 to that, multiply that result by 50. If you already had your birthday this year, add 1,747. If not, only add 1,746. And now's the crazy part. Subtract your birth year from the results, and bam! You get a 3-figure number, the number you chose initially, followed by the age you were when FF7 originally came out in 1997.
And that's magic.
Oh, and it's 1/9 of the population that Shinra murdered, roughly. So now that Shinra murdered all of Sector 7 and has captured Aerith, only one thing to do: break into Shinra headquarters, bust out Aerith, and teach them a lesson. After grapple hooking your way up the fallen plate and almost dying, you'll have the choice of infiltrating the main Shinra building in Sector 0 by either going up 59 flights of stairs, or simply taking an elevator.
But here's the thing. If you go up the stairs, there's a hidden elixir.
Worst route ever.
Wait, there were no items? Through all of this?
I feel personally attacked.
Elixir.
Okay, so you're finally at Shinra headquarters. You're ready to bust some heads, save Aerith, which you do, meet Red 13, an unplayable character who joins your party, and escape. It's time for the big climactic finale, when Hojo's Poopy Lab.
This is the absolute worst case of the FF7 remake destroying the pacing of the original game.
You see, at this point in the game, you've climbed to the top of Shinra headquarters to rescue Aerith, and you're supposed to be going through the big escape scene where you try to get out alive, maybe even take down some Shinra bigwigs with you. Everything is ramped up and exciting. But the remake went, no. What if instead we had a 2-hour slog of a dungeon with nothing that adds to the story right when you just want your big finale moment? You know, a moment where you end up witnessing Shapiro murder President Shinra, then turn into a giant hentai monster you have to battle, all before turning out to be some clone? What?
Okay, I don't know what's going on with that either.
A moment where you end up facing off against Rufus Shinra, President Shinra's son and now the new leader of Shinra, while also locked into a crazy battle against a giant gun turret guard tank? This straight up anime nonsense happening?
And that's when you get into an epic motorcycle chase sequence, which is the perfect
Advent Children's Motorcycle Madness.
And a battle against destiny itself as you face off against the Whispers of Fate and Shapiro again. And wait, what was that last part?
So, you battle a giant destiny monster.
This is where the game suddenly gets a little, okay, a lot weird. Conceptually, I get the idea where changes need to be made from the original game. In the original FF7, at this point in time, you're truly introduced to Shapiro and every character agrees, yeah, he's a bad dude, let's go fight him. But in the remake, as the writing is more grounded, you need a bit more motivation and incentive, and this moment is used to showcase that a meteor will be crashing into the planet, murdering everyone due to Shapiro. It's a powerful idea, just handled in an incredibly ethereal and non-straightforward manner, and all the Whispers of Fate and Destiny crap kinda gets in the way, in my opinion. By winning, you've somehow rewritten Fate and Destiny, which I guess references the original game, because somehow Biggs has somehow survived? What? He's alive? He was literally right under the plate when it fell. You know, the one that you had to take a zip line to escape from? Motherfucker's dead.
But while I did have some issues with the Whispers and some of the pacing breaks,
overall, I thought the Final Fantasy VII Remake was an incredible way to bring the franchise into a modern era. For me, it succeeded on just about every single level, and once I started playing it, I seriously could not stop. I fell in love with the original characters all over again, and not just that, but even more so than I had from the original game.
There's also all this stuff with
15 swords at the same... Finishing off Midgar?
You've finally done it. You've made it outside into the main portion of the game. Now you can begin to roam around the entirety of the planet.
And this is when the game truly starts. Dilly-dally.
Crisis core.
finish.
Prequel.
Ends.
Thanks for checking out this episode. The amazing thumbnail was created by Alan at Lightring Design. He also has a really good YouTube channel, VG Elucidator, I highly recommend. And if you like this video, I'm sure you'll like his content. Thanks to my friends Matt Newman, Sam Sher, and Katie Marie Garland for appearing on this episode. A huge thank you to all my patrons this month. Sorry to keep y'all waiting. This month in particular, I'd like to thank David McGrath, Chris Fry, and Jason Buck. Also, make sure to check out Katie's content. She's a part of the sketch group Just Giggle It and a great actress. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.